Out in the field, size is not just about looks. Sometimes a giant machine exists because the crop demands power, width, endurance, and a work capacity that ordinary equipment simply cannot deliver. Today, you are going to see some truly insane agricultural machines. These are the kind that shake the ground, raise dust, cut through entire fields, and turn heavy farm work into an operation on a massive scale. These are tractors, combines, harvesters, and specialized machines that may look exaggerated when they are parked, but make perfect sense once they enter a huge farm with tough soil, a short harvest window, and production that cannot wait. And this list starts with a tractor that is already considered a monster among conventional models. Yet it is only opening the gate for machines that get even stranger, bigger, and more brutal. Stay with me, because the last machine on this list looks like it was built to swallow an entire field without asking permission. Fendt 1050. The Fendt 1050 Vario is a German tractor built by Fendt, a brand under the ACO Group, and it is part of the 1000 Vario series. It was created for large farms that need serious pulling power without giving up the maneuverability of a conventional wheeled tractor. This is a machine built for heavy tillage, large-scale planting, and demanding transport work. It uses a manned 6-cylinder inline engine with about 12.4 liters of displacement, producing up to 517 horsepower. That kind of power allows it to pull heavy discs, subsoilers, wide planters, and grain carts with stability. Its fuel tank holds more than 185 gallons, helping it work long days in the field with fewer stops for refueling. The transmission is continuously variable, adjusting speed and pulling force smoothly without rough gear changes. In real field conditions, that lets the tractor work slowly while keeping steady power, even in heavy or wet soil. With all-wheel drive, massive tires, and a tall cab, the Fendt 1050 gives the feeling of controlled strength, as if every detail was designed to keep traction and productivity under control. Visually, it impresses because of its size. The wide tires help reduce soil compaction, the cab offers excellent visibility, and the deep sound of the engine fits perfectly with dust, loose dirt, and huge implements working behind it. In soybean, corn, wheat, and canola fields, it can replace several smaller tractors in heavy operations. Even though it is modern and packed with technology, the Fendt 1050 has already become a reference among high-horsepower conventional tractors. At farm shows, plenty of people stop beside it just to understand how a wheeled tractor can be this big and still remain practical. And if this already feels like a brutal way to open the list, the next machine enters a much stranger and rarer corner of agriculture. MKC2TR. Now the list begins to move away from the more familiar machines. The MKC2TR is a much less common agricultural machine, connected to specialized fieldwork in crops that require mechanized harvesting, a large structure, continuous operation, and a high processing capacity. It does not draw attention because it is famous like a major tractor brand, but because it looks like a solution built for a very specific job. The main highlight of this machine is its harvesting system and the way it works in the field. Instead of being just a brute force machine, it was designed to move through the crop while performing steps that once required much more labor and much more time. Since complete technical data for this model is not widely published by manufacturers, the safest way to describe the MKC2TR is as a specialized machine made for productivity and durability in heavy field work. In the field, it stands out because of its long body, exposed components, and the feeling of industrial equipment moving across the soil. The operator watches the crop enter through the front, the material being processed, and the machine leaving behind a strip that has already been worked. It is the kind of equipment that mixes mechanical noise, dust, straw, and the steady rhythm of a machine that cannot stop in the middle of the season. Machines like the MKC2TR make sense in crops where the harvest window is short and the operation has to be carefully coordinated. They reduce manual effort, speed up the job, and make it possible to work larger areas with more consistency. In regions where ordinary equipment cannot deliver the same output, this type of machine becomes a strategic piece on the farm. What makes it interesting is that machines like this are often known mostly by growers, operators, and fans of rare agricultural equipment. They do not show up as often in big commercials, but when they appear working, they grab attention because they look custom-built to solve a problem that most people outside farming never even think about. And if this one already has the look of a rare heavy-duty machine, the next one raises the visual impact with an even more impressive structure for specialized crops. Ploger F5105. Some machines impress because of their size, but the Ploger at F5105 also impresses because of its height and its purpose. Built by Ploger, a company from the Netherlands known for specialized machines for high-value crops, it is a self-propelled harvester made for crops like peas, green beans, and other vegetables that require careful processing. It does not depend only on raw horsepower. The real secret is in the harvesting and separation system, which has to remove the crop from the plant efficiently without destroying product quality. Machines like this often use hydrostatic transmission, which allows smooth speed control, something essential when the harvest has to match crop conditions without causing losses. Visually, the AT5115 looks like a mobile factory crossing the field. Its tall structure, large tires, elevated cab, and wide body create a massive presence in the crop. When it works, you can imagine the constant sound of internal mechanisms, vegetation being pulled in, dust rising, and the product being separated as the machine slowly moves forward. This type of harvester is widely used in vegetable-producing regions, where the harvest window is short and quality has to be protected. Instead of depending on several crews doing slow and repetitive work, a machine of this size can speed up the operation, standardize the process, and deliver more productivity across large fields. The Ploger F5105 shows how some agricultural machines are giants, not only because of strength, but because of smart design. It was created for a specific crop with specific demands, and that is why it looks so different from a regular tractor or combine. And if this machine already looks like a factory moving through the crop, the next one takes specialized harvesting into an even rougher scenario, where soil, weight, and crops coming out of the ground all become part of the same challenge. AR4BX. Here, the list enters a type of machine many people have never seen, not even at a farm show. The AR4BX is a specialized harvester connected to heavy work in crops that need to be lifted from the soil, separated from dirt, and moved through the machine during the operation. Unlike a grain combine, it works directly with the ground. The machine has to lift, screen, and carry the crop without causing too much damage. That is why the focus is on belts, conveyors, rollers, and cleaning systems, more than just engine power. In the field, it has a rugged look full of moving parts. The front enters the soil, dirt comes up with the crop, the belts shake, and the excess material falls back onto the field. It is a heavy scene with mud, dust, mechanical noise, and constant work. In potato fields and other underground crops, a machine like this solves a major problem: getting the crop out of the ground with rhythm and organization. The operator has to control depth, speed, and material flow, because wet soil, large clods, or too much vine material can seriously affect performance. Machines like this make sense on farms where hand harvesting would be slow, expensive, and exhausting. They reduce losses, speed up the harvest, and help growers work better in wet, heavy, or uneven soils. Even without the fame of a giant combine, the AR4BX stands out precisely because of its specific function. The AR4BX represents a lesser-known side of agriculture. Machines built to solve very particular problems, where strength, precision, and durability have to work together. It is the kind of equipment that may look strange to someone watching from the outside, but makes perfect sense to anyone who knows the hard routine of the field. If you are enjoying this ride through giant, rare agricultural machines packed with heavy engineering, go ahead and hit the like button Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss the next videos. And if this one already looks different from what we are used to seeing on farms, the next machine stays in that same world, but with an even stronger connection to heavy potato harvesting. AR4W Aardappels Rooien. This time, the name already tells part of the story. Aardappels rooien comes from Dutch and is connected to lifting potatoes, a job that requires much more than simply driving a machine through the field. The AR4W is a machine built for that world, where the crop is under the soil and has to come out whole, clean enough, and with as little loss as possible. In potato harvesting, the machine has to lift the soil, separate clods, remove vines, move the tubers over conveyors, and prepare the material for unloading or transport. Since complete technical data for this model is not widely available, the safest approach is to focus on its real function, mechanizing a difficult, heavy, and very sensitive stage of potato production. The sight of a machine like this working is almost hypnotic. The front enters the bed, the soil begins to move, potatoes appear mixed with dirt, and then they travel across conveyors until they are separated. This is not a clean or quiet operation. It is mud, dust, vibration, chains turning, belts pulling material, and an operator watching every detail to avoid clogging or damaging the crop. This type of equipment is very important in potato growing regions, especially where the harvest window is short and the weather can change fast. If the soil gets too wet, everything becomes harder. If the crop stays in the field too long, quality can drop. That is why machines like this help growers gain time, reduce labor, and keep the harvest moving at a steadier pace. What makes these harvesters so interesting is that they reveal a side of agriculture many people outside the industry barely know. While big tractors get attention for horsepower, machines like the AR4W impress because of specialization. They exist because every crop has its own challenges, and lifting potatoes at commercial scale requires far more engineering than it may seem. And from this point on, the list starts getting even heavier, because the next machine enters the world of large harvesters built for serious capacity. PMC 1089. When potato harvesting reaches a large scale, simply lifting the crop from the soil is not enough. The machine has to lift, clean, separate, and unload without bruising the tubers too much, because every mistake can turn into a direct loss for the grower. The PMC 1089 fits exactly into that scenario, as a harvester made for fields where productivity and care have to work together. PMC is a British manufacturer known for potato and vegetable equipment, and the 1089 appears as a specialized machine for this kind of heavy operation. Instead of focusing only on horsepower, it stands out because of its belts, separators, and cleaning systems. In machines like this, the transmission usually prioritizes smooth control, because speed has to match the soil, moisture, and amount of material entering the machine. In the field, it has a very different presence from a grain combine. The front works close to the soil, dirt rises with the potatoes, the belts vibrate, clods break apart, and the crop moves through the machine to the unloading point. It is an operation full of motion, with constant noise, dry dust on some days, heavy mud on others, and serious attention needed to avoid clogging. This kind of harvester makes a difference in potato-producing regions, especially where the harvest window is short and the weather can change quickly. A larger machine reduces labor, speeds up the job, and helps keep the harvest more consistent. In large fields, it replaces work that once required several people, support tractors, and much more time. The PMC 1089 also shows how some agricultural machines look unusual because they were created for a very specific mission. It does not need to look pretty like a brand new tractor at a show. It needs to be efficient, tough, and capable of lifting tons of potatoes from the ground without turning the harvest into chaos. And if this harvester already shows how much engineering potato farming demands, the next machine takes that concept to an even more impressive level, with one of the best known and most imposing machines in this segment. Grimm Tektron 415 potato harvester. Few machines make it as clear that large-scale potato harvesting is serious business like the Grimm Tektron 415 potato harvester. Built by Grimm, a German company known worldwide for potato, beet, and vegetable equipment, it was created to lift, clean, and unload potatoes with high capacity. The Tektron 415 is a self-propelled 4-row potato harvester with a large separation and cleaning system. Its engine delivers power in the range of more than 400 horsepower, depending on the version, which is enough to keep the whole system working even in heavy soil, with a lot of material entering the front. Its hydrostatic transmission allows smooth speed control, something essential in potato harvesting. The machine has to move at the right pace to separate dirt, clods, vines, and potatoes without losing productivity. The wide tires help with flotation and stability. The big challenge with potatoes is that they cannot be handled like grain. The crop comes out of the soil mixed with dirt, stones, plant material, and moisture. That is why the Tektron 415 has to balance strength and care, removing debris without damaging the tubers too much as they move through the machine. Watching a Tektron 415 work is impressive. The front lifts the rows, soil passes through the machine, potatoes move across the belts, and dirt falls back onto the field. The high cab places the operator above the action, controlling what feels like a full production line on wheels. In real use, it works in large potato fields, especially in regions with highly mechanized production. The Tektron 415 reduces labor, speeds up harvesting, and became a reference among specialized machines in this segment because it combines size, output, and careful product handling. And now the list leaves potato harvesters for a moment and moves toward a giant of grain harvesting, the kind of machine that looks like it can swallow the crop row by row. Fendt Ideal 10T. When the subject moves from potatoes to grain, the Fendt Ideal 10T arrives like one of those combines that seems to take over the entire field. Built by Fendt under the AGCO Group, it was made for large producers of wheat, soybeans, corn, and canola. It uses a manned 6-cylinder inline engine with about 16.2 liters of displacement, producing up to 790 horsepower. That power feeds a high-capacity harvesting system with a large separation and cleaning area, along with a grain tank that can hold more than 485 bushels, depending on the configuration. The letter T indicates tracks, which help distribute the machine's weight, reduce soil compaction, and increase stability in softer ground. The hydrostatic transmission allows smooth speed control, letting the operator adjust the pace according to crop yield. Its main advantage is the ability to maintain steady crop flow. In a high-yielding field, a lot of straw, grain, and plant material enter the machine at the same time. The Ideal 10T was designed to process that volume with fewer losses, using sensors and automatic adjustments to support the operator during harvest. Up close, the Ideal 10T has the presence of industrial machinery. The high cab, long body, massive unloading auger, and wide tracks give the feeling of a combine built for long and heavy workdays. In the field, it eats through the crop, separates the grain, and throws straw out the back in a constant flow. With auto guidance, loss monitoring, cab comfort, and onboard technology, it represents a new generation of giant combines. It does not impress only because of its size, but because of its precision and its ability to harvest a lot in a short amount of time. And if this combine already looks capable of swallowing entire fields, the next machine trades grain harvesting for spraying and shows a machine so wide it seems to stretch across the field from end to end. Agrifac Hexa 12. In some fields, the absurd part is not only the machine's weight, but the width it reaches when the booms unfold. The Agrifac Hexa 12 is a self-propelled sprayer developed by Agrifac, a manufacturer from the Netherlands known for large-scale application equipment. The main highlight is the 6-wheel concept, designed to improve stability, distribute weight more evenly, and reduce soil compaction. In giant sprayers, that matters because the machine has to carry a large tank, maintain crop clearance, and cross the field with precision. The hydrostatic transmission allows smooth driving, while electronic systems control application rate, boom sections, and overlap. That helps reduce product waste and improves precision in crop management. The work of a sprayer this size depends heavily on weather windows. Wind, temperature, humidity, and the right time of day directly influence application quality. That is why a large and precise machine can cover more acres at the ideal moment, avoiding delays that could affect weed, pest, or disease control. Visually, the Hexa 12 looks like a giant steel insect passing over the crop. The 6 wheels give it an unusual appearance, the high clearance helps in taller crops, and the open booms create an impressive working width across the field. In real use, sprayers of this size are used in large soybean, corn, wheat, and canola fields. The Hexa 12 stands out because it combines size, technology, and a different design, built to apply product across thousands of acres with more control. And now we reach the top of the list, where size, power, and field presence come together in a machine that seems built to dominate beet harvesting on a massive scale. Ropa Tiger 6S. At the top of the list is a machine that makes no effort to be discreet. The Ropa Tiger 6S is a self-propelled sugar beet harvester built by Ropa, a German company known for some of the most impressive equipment in this segment. It uses a Mercedes-Benz 6-cylinder inline engine with 15.6 liters of displacement, producing up to 796 horsepower. That power feeds the lifting, cleaning, internal conveying, and unloading systems. The bunker holds about 1,520 cubic feet, allowing the machine to carry an enormous amount of sugar beets. The hydrostatic transmission helps control speed smoothly in heavy soil. The huge tires, advanced steering, and balanced weight distribution give the machine the stability it needs to lift beets, clean off soil, and keep moving at a steady pace. In sugar beet harvesting, the challenge is enormous because the crop is in the soil, comes out covered in dirt, and has to be separated quickly. The Tiger 6S solves this with a lifting, cleaning, and internal conveying system that turns a heavy operation into a continuous flow, reducing stops and increasing output. The visual impact is extreme. The Tiger 6S looks like an industrial plant driving across the field. The front lifts the crop, the internal systems separate soil and plant material, and the huge bunker fills as the machine keeps moving. In real use, it works in major sugar beet regions, especially in Europe. The Ropa Tiger 6S became a worldwide reference because it combines power, size, and technology in a machine that shows just how far agricultural engineering has come. And after moving through tractors, potato harvesters, giant sprayers, and grain combines, this machine closes the list by showing that, in farming, what looks exaggerated is often exactly what gets the job done. These machines show that modern agriculture has reached an incredible level. From the Fendt 1050 to the Ropa Tiger 6S, we saw giants built to pull more weight, harvest faster, spray with precision, and turn massive fields into real production. Some are famous, others are rare, and some may look exaggerated at first glance. But all of them exist for one reason. When the field demands power, technology, and productivity, ordinary machines are simply not enough. Now tell me in the comments, which one of these machines would you most like to see working up close? Which one looks the most outrageous for a farm? And which agricultural giant would you add to this list? If you enjoy this kind of content, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. It helps the channel grow and shows YouTube that more people enjoy agricultural machines, tractors, harvesters, and giant equipment from the field. I'll see you in the next video.